cope is killing you. Now, everyone knows what cope is. I shouldn't need to explain that to you, right? We all know that it's bad for you. It's not healthy. It's a shit habit to get into. Just coping everything. And we know that, making X excuse for doing a bad habit, or making Y justification for why we didn't do whatever. But we can all agree that it's going to harm us in the long run. And it's just a toxic way of viewing life and viewing certain habits, generally when it comes to being uncomfortable, because we know that humans are a species that hates pain or discomfort and do everything in their power to get away from that. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because we all hate being wrong or looked down upon. Like it's not really it's literally a survival instinct. And think back to caveman times. If you told your tribe that certain berry was edible or good for you, and everyone ate, and all of a sudden you've got it turns out they're poisonous and you've got no more tribe, that's a pretty big fucking mistake to make. So fear of mistake is not entirely just being a pussy. I do believe it is a bit of a survival instinct. And even nowadays, being wrong is inevitable. So, fucking up is inevitable. And really, why are you still blaming everyone else and the world around you and all of this stuff? Like, why the fuck are you blaming everyone but yourself, especially as a young man on self-improvement, looking to improve himself and get better? Why are you blaming everyone else but you? Because chances are there's a lot of aspects in your life that are in your control, and that if you take accountability, you will be able to actually start making changes, start making improvements in your life. And if you are a serial cope artist, as I'll say, you're probably coping now. You don't know how hard my life is, and I'm not coping. People cope by saying it's not cope. And I'm not, I did it too. I'm not exempt from this. I still catch myself. Even my boys catch me. Oi, you're coping. Just shut the fuck up. And it does. It almost becomes subconscious. You just start making excuses, and all of a sudden you're just making up cope after cope. And you've probably let it just become a habit to whip out a bullshit excuse to get out of doing something difficult or uncomfortable, or doing a bit of hard work. Think about the last time you saw an absolute gorgeous girl. Like, I'm talking 10 out of 10. Like, if you could snap your fingers and she'd be your girlfriend, you would, right? You've seen them before, walking down the street, in the mall, out in public, wherever the fuck. And what did you do? Now, you probably like to think that in a hypothetical situation, you'd go up to her and you'd speak to her, you'd get her phone number, whatever the fuck. In reality, you've probably been in that scenario before, and instead of going up to her and talking to her like you should have, you've coped. You've made some bullshit excuse, oh, she's probably a hoe, oh, she's probably got a boyfriend, all that stuff, just to get out of that uncomfortable feeling of going up to her and potentially being rejected. And that probably sounds familiar for a lot of you, because you do it every single time and it's the new norm. Rather than going up and, there's plenty of very attractive girls out there that, even if they're not, a wife potential, just the fun of going up and speaking to women and getting phone numbers and all that stuff. You would do it more often if you weren't a pussy. Does that make sense? I hope you can get that through your head. Like, the only way that you'll break this cycle is literally just by growing a pair of balls and doing it. There's no other way around it. I can't. Some things you just got to start doing. It's like making a YouTube channel or whatever. Like, at the end of the day, you've got to start doing it in order to get rewards. You can't, just snap your fingers and get to where you want. Otherwise, everyone would be there. So, really, You've got to cut out the excuses. You've got to cut out, putting it off, procrastinating. And, most importantly, no more coping. No more bullshit excuses. And just go and do it. Like, what? There's only so many times I can say, go and do it. Just start. Like, at the end of the day, it's you. You've got to make the decision. You've got to stop making excuses. It just depends how bad you want it, really. And you don't even have to want it that bad. You just got to understand that it's not that bad, whatever you're going to do. Being rejected is not that bad. And like in that scenario, you're talking to girls, you don't get rejected as often as you think. Dating apps have made you think that 99% of girls think you're revolting. You'd be surprised that if that's the mindset of 99% of dudes, you think that how many times she actually gets approached. So all of a sudden that, versus if she's out in public, she might get approached once, maybe twice. So if you're all of a sudden, you're so much better than so many dudes just by going and doing that, because she could probably count on one hand how many times she's been approached in one day. And especially if she's really attractive, most guys think, oh, she's out of my league. Again, cope. And, don't. Or pussy out. And she might even be not as, high on that pedestal or out of your league as you think. And all of a sudden you've got a super hot fucking girlfriend. Like, it's really not that difficult. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, until it gets in your head. Pretty much every video, regardless of what I'm talking about. The hardest part is just starting. Going up to her for the first time, the first YouTube video, going to the gym for the first time. Like, it's going to be uncomfortable. And one of the best skills you can get good at, is being comfortable in uncomfortable situations, being comfortable outside of your comfort zone. That way, you always open to trying new things and learning new skills and doing something difficult. And you're not going to fail if you get comfortable outside of your comfort zone. So it literally is. And I agree. Like, taking responsibility and doing the hard work, especially when you're not used to it, it's fucking difficult and it sucks. Like, the hard work isn't all sunshine and rainbows. Like, there's a reason why so many people don't want to do it, and why it's so rewarding if you commit to it and stay on. Oh, fucking great, computer turned off. And so it's literally there's a reason why you hear the term. I think I got it from Chris Williamson. I'm not entirely sure, but it's the stairway. I think it was him. If there's a clip, I'll just put it up. But the stairway to heaven feels like hell, and the stairway to hell feels like heaven. And you can kind of infer what that means. Even if you put it into a real world self-improvement sense, you probably know what your hell and heaven look like. Your hell might be like a fucking 9 to 5 or whatever. No time freedom, whatever. That kind of stuff. And your heaven might look like financial freedom, being 6'5" and jacked. I don't fucking know. My point is, where you want to be, and you probably have a rough idea of what you need to do to get there. It's literally just a matter of going and doing it. And yeah, of course, there's going to be uncertainty. Like, there's still things I haven't figured out, but you figure that out along the way. You can't really plan. Planning is hoping that things stay. How do I word this? I read in a book, I'm trying to remember what it said. Planning is based on the hope of things staying consistent, if that makes sense. And preparation is on the basis of chaos happening, or something like that. I'll fucking put the quote somewhere if I remember it. But the point is, you should be preparing and always getting ready for the trials and tribulations of learning something new, getting better at something, content creation or whatever the fuck, versus planning is kind of waiting for that perfect opportunity to start. Like, you could have the best plan in the world, but if you're not implementing it, it's fucking useless. So, literally, again, I'll say it before, I'll say it again. Why the fuck haven't you started? You're sitting there watching my videos, watching Hamza's videos, E-Man Gadget, all of these guys, and you love the idea of starting, and you love the idea of, making YouTube videos and making 6 figures a month, making 7 figures, but too much of a pussy to start. And it's literally just boils down to the fact that you're a loser and you cope. You're just a loser that copes when hard work needs to be done. And there's at the end, and if you're okay with that, then all the power to you, because it's people like you that watch my content and give us ambitious people the opportunity to grow and to achieve our dreams, because we're not afraid of doing the hard work. We're not afraid of, years of nothing, years of, seeming effort for nothing, because we know eventually, after long enough, hard enough work, that we'll get everything we ever wanted. So stop bullshitting yourself, bro. If you're still here at the end of the video, I'd love it if you subscribed. It supports me, my dreams, my goals, allows me to hopefully one day become a full-time content creator. And remember, life is what you make it.